First, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Cars Plus kick off our holidays by supporting the Make-A-Wish Jingle Rock Virtual Run. Visit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Guam and CNMI Facebook page for details. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on Prime Time, set to expire tomorrow, the Lieutenant Governor says the public health emergency declaration will be extended. Plus, hundreds of the island Manamku at Okuru High School today for day 2 of vaccinations. And House lawmakers vote to override the president's veto of the National Defense Authorization Act bill.
Hafa and good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. The public health emergency declaration will be extended before tomorrow's expiration deadline. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio says they're working on some language to possibly approve further reopenings, but a final decision on when to restart face-to-face instruction in schools has not yet been made.
I would say that right now the time and attention has been on coordinating with the Guam public school system and the other schools, and that's still ongoing. So public health still has been working on a revised guidance. I haven't seen that final product yet. It will be based on the last school guidance that was given back in July, with, of course, a lot of improvements based on, the situation that has occurred between July and now, all geared towards prepping school to open.
Tenorio says he's been getting some mixed messages, with some parents and teachers still outright against a return of face-to-face instruction anytime soon. He says no matter what, online learning will remain an option. Day 2 of Manamku vaccinations was in full swing as almost 900 of the island's most vulnerable population made their way to Ukadu High School to get their first dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Peter Santos has more.
The Manamku, they will give me a shot first, so I want to be healthy to myself. So that's why I grabbed the opportunity.
After almost 10 months of home isolation, Rick Davo jumped at the opportunity to be vaccinated, hoping it'll help him return to his normal routines. But what he didn't expect is that almost 900 Manamku would have the same idea. Davo's daughter Yvonne spoke about their vaccination experience.
Our Manamku are willing to have the vaccine because they want to be with their loved ones. They're tired of being at home. They don't want to get sick. And then you come out here and there's no social distancing. It's hot. I already saw an ambulance here earlier. I saw paramedics checking people. Some people are giving up. You know what I mean? It's too difficult. I see people in wheelchairs. My dad's not in a wheelchair yet. You know what I mean? I see elderly couples here with each other. And it's like, you know what I mean? They're just struggling. It seems like they're struggling to get the vaccine, you know what I mean? It's not easy.
With such a dramatic increase in vaccine candidates, the amount of traffic stretched out onto Route 3 towards GRMC, leaving some Manamku with no choice but to walk the span of the entire parking lot just to get in line.
When I first drove up, I tried to see if I could just drop my dad over here at the station closer to the line here, but the individual told me that no, we have to park and we all have to walk in, and I don't think that's right. I mean, why do they have to walk further? There should be a drop-off area for the Manamku, especially ones that cannot walk far and require wheelchair assistance.
Public Health PIO Janela Carrera says Day 2's turnout wasn't what they expected.
Yesterday we had about 300, we gave about 382 doses to the Manamku who showed up. And today we probably already went over that number with the showing that we've seen so far. So we definitely weren't anticipating this many people to show up, but nonetheless we're definitely ready to be able to vaccinate as many Manamku as possible. We are learning as we go, of course, and as I mentioned, we weren't anticipating this kind of turnout. So we did ask for more assistance to help with manpower. So we're just doing the best we can with the resources we have, ensuring that there is proper social distancing, that they're well hydrated, and also indoors trying to manage the flow so that we can continue to keep the line moving.
There's one more day of Manamku vaccinations taking place tomorrow, and in addition to their ID and a list of their medication, interested Manamku are encouraged to bring a sweater for the observation room, a chair, some water, and a little bit of patience as public health continues to vaccinate as many as possible. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Peter Santos.
The Vaccine and Antiviral Prioritization Policy Committee, or the VAPPC, plans to bump up the Guam Police Department in the Phase 1B category lineup. According to DPHSS Public Information Officer Janela Carrera, the committee met last night, and while they are continuing to prioritize those 75 years and older, they also recognize the Guam Police Department's workforce falls under the priority group. Public Health will be reaching out to GPD to discuss moving law enforcement to the vaccination phase.
They are essential. They are frontline and first responders. They do provide that necessity, that security, and any time that somebody calls 911, we definitely do need their protection and their security for our community.
Carrera says Public Health will be asking GPD to refine the list provided on the number of officers and GPD personnel for vaccinations. Additionally, the VAPPC discussed reaching out to both private hemodialysis centers and homebound Manamku to receive the vaccine. As for the latest numbers from the Joint Information Center released today, reported 12 out of 358 test samples from various labs tested positive for COVID-19. This brings the total amount of officially reported cases of the virus on Guam to 7,293, with 218 in active isolation. To date, there have been 121 COVID-related deaths. 19 people are currently hospitalized with the virus, with 4 under ICU care and 2 receiving ventilator support. The COVID area risk score is 0.7. The House approved 2 crucial measures. First, it passed the Cash Act to give millions of Americans $2,000 stimulus checks. Afterwards, it voted to override a presidential veto. Now both measures move on to the Senate, which meets tomorrow. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
The bill is passed.
The House approved a bill to increase direct stimulus payments from $600 to $2,000, one day after President Trump finally signed the COVID relief bill into law.
Putting money into the hands of the American people is a boost to our economy.
I worry that this whopping $463 billion won't do what's needed.
The president's sudden shift on the bill brings relief to many financially strapped Americans, but his delay resulted in a 1-week lapse in unemployment benefits for more than 14 million recipients.
The yeas are 322. The nays are 87.
House lawmakers voted to override the president's veto of the critical defense bill that funds the U.S. military. If the Senate also votes to override Tuesday, it'll be the first veto override of Mr. Trump's presidency.
Senate Republicans have not committed to bringing up a vote on increased stimulus payments. Senate Democrats are calling on President Trump to persuade them.
These Senate Republicans have followed you through thick and thin. Get them now to act and support the $2,000 checks.
President Trump played another round of golf Monday in South Florida.
You support the $2,000 vaccination, sir? Yes.
President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris met virtually with members of his national security and foreign policy teams in Delaware.
We just aren't getting all the information that we need for the outgoing administration in key national security areas. It's nothing short, in my view, of irresponsibility.
Pentagon officials tell CBS News that meetings with the Biden transition team have paused for the holidays. They're expected to resume next month.
The new COVID relief package is now law, which includes another round of economic impact payments of $600. Revenue and Taxation Director Daphne Shimizu says she doesn't have a specific date yet for when the stimulus checks will start being released, but DRT has been prepping for it.
Since last week, when there was talk about Congress passing this, and it seemed very, pretty imminent, and it was going to happen, that our team had begun to talk with our IT people. We've already begun to, identify, put together our checklist to make sure that we are ready to roll this out as soon as possible. Again, we don't have information yet on when that will happen. That's really dependent upon our discussions with the IRS and the Treasury, how quickly we can get through those and how quickly we can get, of course, the funds to be transferred to, our coffers here on Guam.
Again, the House today passed a separate bill to increase the stimulus payments to $2,000. That measure is expected to meet heavy resistance from the Senate Republicans. And it's a parent's worst nightmare to lose a child, but thankfully there was a happy ending. 7-year-old Avery Michaela Sandoval was missing for nearly 5 hours, and after an extensive search, she was found safe and sound on the roof of her home. It was all hands on deck. Multiple units from the Guam Fire Department, Guam Police Department, K-9s, and several volunteers stepping up to actively search for missing 7-year-old Avery Michaela Sandoval. The young girl was reported missing outside her home along Evelyn Pears Road in the Chalon-LaChance area in Jigo. According to GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau, Avery was located on the roof of her family home around 9:30 p.m.
Fortunately for us, she was found within the proximity of her home. She was found in good condition and in good health. And it took a while. We want to say about good 4 or 5 hours from the duration when she was reported missing to the time she was actually found.
Sergeant Tapau applauds the efforts of all involved in the massive search.
It was the efforts, it was the community concerns, and of course, people that came out to provide the assistance for the search.
It's not clear why Avery was on the roof for hours, but Tapau has this message to share to all parents.
This is a great example, and I guess we can convey this to the community that, we ask parents, we continue to ask them within the Guam Police Department, and of course as a father, to really, parents just be parents and, hold an accountability to, if you're supervising or watching over kids, make sure you watch and just really be the eagle, the eye in the sky and just watch over them.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Enjoy honey sesame chicken breast at Panda Express. Be the sweetness. Be the freshness. Be the crispy tender sesame seed perfection. That's how you find your sweet spot. Have it delivered from Panda Express today.
Micronesia Mall.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate